Yeah.
Hi.
Hello, Megan.
Welcome, everybody. I have Marc Antoine Picard.
Hello,
Live
everybody.
from España, from Spain, from Catalonia, yeah?
From Catalonia, yes, not too far from Barcelona. Far enough from Barcelona.
One day I'm going to be there.
And you're always welcome. But I want to go to Texas, though.
Oh, yeah, you're always welcome here, too. We have really good food.
I know. I'm sure. We'll wait until the virus goes away and everything gets back to normal in 2047. You know,
It'll be great.
when we're retired, like maybe at some point. Meanwhile, we can do this.
Right. I mean, this is a whole new platform that we have. I mean, I haven't actually seen your face since you left CA, which for everybody joining, Marc Antoine was in the house troupe at CA, and then he became the villain star, the counselor's son. How long were you the counselor's son?
I was the counselor's son. I stayed about a year as a house troupe, so 6 years.
Yeah, it was
close to 6 years.
Gosh,
yeah,
that flew by. And I was his favorite wiggy, so you know.
Of course. Of course. That was my favorite moment. A quick change, a quick wig. But now I could do it alone.
Probably. Oh my God. How long is your hair? How long is it when it's down?
About here.
It's longer than mine.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you know what? I think like hairstyle, and you know it better than me, has a lot to do with personality.
Yes.
And when I left CAD, like a huge, some sort of an identity crisis. So I never I think I was too lazy to say like, okay, what I want to look like. Because the real question is who you want to be. You know what I mean? Who do you want others to see? That's the real question when you choose a hairstyle. Right. And then times passed and passed and passed, and I end up with that, you know.
I actually think it's very fitting, though, in a way.
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, I like the more groomed because for a minute there, you let it was like.
Yeah.
Crazy, but I like this groomed.
It's yeah. I spend a lot of time in the wild, and I'm not a city guy really. So I cut down a tree today. So I allow myself to not be like fully groomed and all.
Well, I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about how you became Paul Bunyan. Do you know who Paul Bunyan is?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I laughed at your joke just to be polite.
Thank you. Well,
well behaved and well educated.
You can Google Paul Bunyan whenever we get done with this. But he likes to chop down trees. Yeah. So you are from Montreal or Quebec.
Mm-hmm. Montreal.
You are Montreal. So you're from Montreal. And when you were younger, did you always know that you wanted to go into performing?
Absolutely. I saw Saltimbanco in 97. I wanted no 97. Would it be 90 before that? I don't want to start to do calculation, but I was about like 9-ish.
Yeah.
So that would make it like 90. Yeah, maybe that 96, 7 around that. And I don't know if you remember the act. What was his name? The name will come back. And it's like a cowboy act, and he's taking someone from the audience, and he's doing like a duel, And at that moment, I said, I want to do that for a living. I want to be a main character at Cirque du Soleil. So I was like,
very specific.
Excessively specific. Like definitely that. No, absolutely.
As like a 9-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. Since I was 9 years old, it was like 100% sure I wanted to do that in life. And then I done it, and I got fed up with it. No, but
you did it for many years. I mean, that was a really a good run at Cirque. You were there for what,
It was a
7 years?
Yes, 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 yes. That was a good run. A lot of things change because I think when you have like one, let's say one single professional goal or one very specific dream and you achieve it, there's that sort of moment that you're like, and then what? You know what I mean? Either you get comfortable and you just do that and you don't wonder anything. But there was that part of me that was like, okay, achieve a dream. What now? What? And things evolve. And I'm still involved with the company
Yeah.
when it's not bankrupt and
When
everybody,
it comes back.
you know. But now I'm doing something way more meaningful to me, uh, which is doing artistic coaching. They fly me over on a show, and I work specific uh, artistic skills. It could be like work on an act, or to work on a character, or to work on general acting skills. To me, it's more meaningful because you help others growing as artists. Sometimes also as human being, because I ish became a life coach while I
Hmm.
was, after um, God. But to me, it's more meaningful. Maybe it's because when you achieve a dream, then you help maybe others achieving theirs, or there's that sort of, passing on the to the, I don't want to call it the next generation. It's not that, but it's just,
No, but it is in a way because I mean, that's one of the reasons that we're doing this, right? Is to kind of find out, for me anyway, I find it very interesting people's journeys to get kind of at the top of their game, or they're at least living in the realm of success in their chosen career. And
yeah,
so how they got there is very interesting, not only to me, but to what like the baby artists are, or
yeah,
people just starting out to say, am I even on the right path? What did that guy do? And you, like me, like school. And because I went back and looked at your resume, which I had never done before,
yeah.
very impressive. Um, and looking at like the different um, school that you went through to gain success in your arena is very impressive. I mean, do you think that all of that schooling helped you, or that you could have gotten there?
I'm not sure if it's the schooling or the journey itself.
Yeah.
You know, traveling probably because I studied in Italy. I studied in Barcelona also before uh, going to Vegas. Probably traveling was a better teacher. Let's say, just traveling itself,
Mm-hmm.
and live somewhere, not just like
Bounce around.
bounce around and do the touristy stuff. Really get bored somewhere. Um, that helped me probably more than the school itself. It's a holistic thing, my friend. You
No, I
know,
think that that's absolutely true. Yeah.
University absolutely helped me develop a pedagogy. So when I teach, there's a lot of things I studied, like really, university style theoretically, let's say. Um, uh, but yeah, I would say it's the general journey, and I think it's true. It's true everywhere. You know what I mean? Because a diploma at the end is just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's nothing but the paper. It's the whole journey. It's leaving your home and going to college in another state, out of state college, and for the first time you need to cook your meal, and you meet that person, and then you get too drunk, and then you puke, and then you don't like that teacher, but you love the other one, and then you study, and then it's that the journey is more important than the diploma.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why also a lot of huge company don't even ask for the diploma anymore. If you look at Google,
They
most
just
of
want your
the
experience.
of course you're gonna pass a test. They're gonna make sure you're freaking competent. However, they don't ask. The piece of paper is useless. You know. So so yeah, that's what I would
What
say.
Well, I mean, I think that it's interesting too. Like, I mean, my school is a trade school, but
Yeah.
it's that little tiny kernel of something that people found something they were passionate about, and then they have that avenue instead of going about it the whole route of also taking math and all of these things. It's very focused education.
But don't you think it's great today that those people have access to people like you, and before it was impossible. You could even, and I'm not saying that, not too far away, like not even 20 years ago. That
Well, when I
was
was looking for my school, it wasn't around.
that was what I mean. You had to go to the typical path on the school and have all the other classes and all the. And now with internet, with social media and all, you can have direct access to people and say, you want to teach, you want to learn wigs, here's a workshop for you. Boom, you're going to learn that. And I've done that all my life with not me, you. I'm talking like I'm you. I've done that with the high end companies like Cirque du Soleil, and this is just wonderful. What a great experience. It's like straight to the knowledge. It's sort of, there's a revolution in education right
Yeah.
now, and you're part of it, and it's so great. I think yeah.
Speaking of that excitement, because it was such a goal for you since you were 9, when you went in for that audition, because I think everybody has a collective memory of when they decided to go to work for Cirque du Soleil or
Yeah,
audition or put their application in or
yeah,
something and be like, well, I don't know if it's going to happen. How cool would that be? And then it happened.
yeah.
Like, where were you at when you did you send in casting? Did you?
Montreal. Okay, I was in Montreal. So what happened is one of the Marc Roy, which is still when the company is up and running, he's still a casting scout. He went to see a show I directed. And after we had a chat, and he said, "Oh, you're an actor too. Send me your video." Submitted a video, and I showed up to the audition, and it was like at that time they were doing like huge audition on 2 days, and it was like we
Oh yeah.
started like 70 actors and actresses, and they were chopping down and trimming down and blah blah blah. And it was funny because I partnered with the casting department for the audition in Barcelona, and I was on the other side that time. Yeah, I did it in Vegas too, but it was like in Barcelona, it was the same format. You know what I mean? And it was very interesting to see that distance. Like, oh shit, I grew, I changed so much. Um, but the first audition, like if you want to talk about that, what's I think the feeling I had was certainty. I was just sure it would be working out. I was not 100% sure, just like beyond that. I was so
Oh,
sure, so sure. Not too.
it was
I was
time.
not cocky. I was not cocky. I was just at the right place at the right time. And even I remember they were doing like personal comments. Yves Sheriff, Marc Antoine. I don't remember who was there too. He was giving comment to the people. Be careful tomorrow. We would like to see that. Blah blah blah. And I came to have my like personal comment, and they say, "You just be yourself. Just show up tomorrow. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine." I was like, "Okay, thank you." But yeah, yeah. The first audition at Cirque. Oh my god.
Right? And then they say, "No, you're going to work for Ka. Welcome
Yeah,
aboard to this giant show."
yeah. Oh my god. $165 million show. You don't expect that. Even if you study it, even if you know it, even if you've seen some show, you don't expect that out of proportion production. Just like it's so hard to understand for the people that I've
Mm-mm.
never seen the backstage, because even if you see the show, you're like, oh wow, it's great. But I always said that Ka is even better from the backstage.
Yeah. I saw the show 2 days before I started work. I had
Yeah.
never seen it. And I
Uh-huh.
was in the audience and I was like, what did I just oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
And the blue wig, which is what you wore in the show, Miro was in at the time, and I was like, that is my most favorite wig I've ever seen in my life. Like, am I gonna mess it up? Like,
Yeah.
It's so crazy to look
What a
back.
fun wig to play with. To play that
Oh,
character, like to play with the wig and to play like, oh my god, yeah, there's so much to play with.
yeah.
And oh yeah, absolutely.
Um, when it's interesting that you now are doing, well, not even now, you were doing it before, the directing and artistic directing. And
Mhm.
I remember when I was in undergrad, mine was for performance and directing. And I had never directed anything, but when I took the first directing class, I was like, I love this. Like,
Mhm.
and kind of how you said about the process of everything. I liked putting all the
Mhm.
pieces together and
Mhm.
creating something instead of just being a piece of it.
Yeah.
Now that you're doing more of that, what is it in particular about the directing and the coaching that really draws you to continue to do that aspect of it?
Um, when you're an actor, you play. When you're a director, you play with people that play. It's like you're a little child, and you play with a toy that itself is playing with it. You know what I mean? So that's what I love the most. It's more of a selfless um, job, I would say,
Yeah.
because it's more about um, I'm more about finding out what works and doesn't work instead of finding out what I like and I don't like. You know, I
Yeah.
try to reach that sort of in the artistic proposition, but I try to reach a point where all the audience agree about something. If
Hmm.
a gag is funny, all the audience, a real gag that works, 100% of the audience will react to it. Maybe they won't laugh to the same level, but you will have a common reaction because it worked rhythmically. It worked. The intensity worked. The timing works. So I'm really interested about touching those sort of like I want to say those sort of universal agreement. You know, because
Yeah.
there is something like. When something work 100%, like I'm more about that, more about guiding the actors to go toward that sort of like magic place where it work and working with their creativity and their again it's playing with a, a toy that is playing. It's to me it's more meaningful, I would say, than
Yeah.
thing. I don't know if I would like to go back. But I would go back. I miss the stage. Like I miss the sort of volume of Cirque, and I miss the huge crowds, and
Yeah.
I miss the level of physical implication that you need, and also to sustain 10 shows a week. That I sort of miss it maybe. Um,
That was a weird machine, though. I mean,
yeah,
I found that um, Cirque really is its own animal in that a lot of our friends in New York and stuff, if they got several months out of a production, it was like this smashing success. So like even just from the back of house and making the costumes last and the wigs last and then keeping up the daily and the daily and the daily, just on the technical side. But then on the artistic side, how do you keep inspired on the daily when this becomes your 9 to 5? I feel like we were talking about earlier, it's very easy to get complacent and
absolutely.
have to find it sounds so silly to be like, I have to find creative outlets while working for Cirque du Soleil.
You need to. Hey, how many wigs did you have to like? I never counted it, but like per day, how many wigs were you styling? And
For our show, we had about 16 wigs or pieces that were in every show.
yeah,
But because everybody has custom, this will be a funny story about you.
cool.
But because everybody had custom wigs or hair pieces or whatever, we had a stock of, I don't know, 50 that were out on the floor, plus all of the back stock.
Yeah,
But a funny story about your head is that normally when people show up right into a role, before they get their garter robe or their very first custom made piece, we try to make it work with whatever we have, right? So you borrow somebody else's costume, then it's just yours. You borrow somebody else's wig, but you are very tall, and you had like a 23 or 23 and a half inch head. And all of...
Is it a big head? Am I having a big head? Do I have a big head? Is it a big head or a small head?
It's a bigger head. It's not huge.
Oh, thank you. It makes it. Thank you so much. It's a bigger head. Super kind. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah.
But the two people that were in before you had very tiny heads. Like they had small heads. So all of the custom made wigs, if you remember, you had to wait to go into the role because we had to get your wig in from Montreal.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We had nothing that would work.
That's true.
So we had to fast track your wig from Montreal so you could get on the stage and be fabulous.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember.
Yeah, I know. It seems like a long time ago.
It does. It does seems like a crazy long time ago.
I know. I want to go back even further, because part of this too that is super fun for me is I like finding out, like, as people were growing up, because I was such a cinephile and I loved TV and cartoons and all this stuff. If there were things that you loved growing up that you find translate into how you operate today, like, you know what I mean? Like, I loved Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and when I look back at it, I'm like, there's so much glitter. Like I had a visceral reaction when I saw it as an adult a couple of months ago, and I was like, oh, that's it. That's what happened. You know, or like the Goonies, or was there something growing up that you were like, I think about this and I refer to it in my brain as I'm working on it.
Yeah. I don't have anything like specific like you that like comes up. Of course, like I got inspired by Jim Carrey and Michel Courtemanche and all those actors, of course, but it wasn't as much of a strong impact. I think it's because the type of education I had, I was always like in the theater world because I studied acting, but I was always involved in the circus world because I was running a circus school and blah blah blah. So, but I end up being always the theater guy in the circus world and the circus guy in the theater world.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? So so I was in some sort of position of like I had to put like acting into a circus act, or I had to put circus into a theater show. Then I was always ending up with some sort of like artistic coaching gigs, but I never really noticed it because I really wanted to work as a main character for Cirque du Soleil, you know? So maybe growing up, like now that I look back, I wasn't aware of it at that time, but that's more who I am, a sort of outsider, you know what I mean? And that's probably why I felt very, very comfortable at Cirque, because we're some sort of all outsiders. There's no like a perfect profile for a certain job at Cirque, man. There's company manager. They used to be riggers or a carpenter, and then they became like head of the department, and then they switched department, and then, oh yeah, they were just a great leader. And then they become, you know what I mean? And it's not like they have an MBA. It's not like they have the diploma thing. It's just they're outsiders. They're super competent for the job. But
I think that's the beauty of theater, though, right? It's the margins. It's the people of the margins, I guess, that make it so beautiful and complex. And
absolutely. It's circus. We're a bunch of outsiders. I think so.
Well, I mean, so I was looking at your resume, right? And speaking of like just kind of moving along in your own path, right before you left Vegas, you and Sammy Saula were doing like the meditation type things, because I partook in that, you know, during my own journey. But then I saw that you got certified in Ashtanga.
Yeah. So I left Vegas.
You went to India.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there. See, influences everywhere.
Uh, I will have a
Have
globe
a beverage
of some. It doesn't. I wish I had that. I wish we had those size of.
this size.
Oh my god! Yeah, this is huge.
This is a 30 ounce. It lasts all day. It's great.
Yeah, it might end up being flat a little bit, but yeah, I went to India, so I always wanted to go, and I left Vegas. I arrived in Spain in December. I arrived. I don't remember like November, December. Arrived in Spain, and yeah, I just left. I don't know. I just left the next summer. I just left. I just left. I told my wife, like my wife is super cool. Maria is cool for those things because I was online. I was like, hey Maria, I always wanted to go to India. Like there's that teacher training program, Ashtanga, blah 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 blah. Can I go? Yeah, right. Of course you can go. When is it? It's in about 3 weeks. Yeah, yeah. Okay, clink clank clink boom boom, and I was gone. Like we trying to get my visa, and I went there. Um, India is great. It's a kick in the balls for the senses. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's intense. Once a year I want to go back. Couldn't live there. Maybe it's like there's too much noise. Maybe like in really terms of there's a lot of chaos.
Which is
Um,
so interesting because so many non-chaotic practices come out of India.
yeah, but you need to be careful with one thing. Yoga became popular because it went to America and then it came back to India. That's one slight. That's one thing we don't get in America. But I mean, yoga, of course, it's an old science.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the Bhagavad Gita. It was in those like very old scriptures that there's some uh, allusion to meditation um, but yoga itself, the way we sort of practice it today, it's because it became popular in California and then it came back to India and all the Indian were like, oh, I want to do like the American. Oh, what? Yoga's from here? So
Oh boy.
so it's not like because even before going to India, I thought like yoga was an Indian thing, and it is an Indian thing, but that's a journey it made. It went to America, it got popularized in America, and then it came back to India.
But the principles of it, I mean, don't you find it's still like about being still about, well, I mean, I guess there's different forms of yoga, but
Yeah.
particular like what drew you to Ashtanga and learning that practice?
What drew me to Ashtanga is Ashtanga itself. Never heard of Ashtanga. Okay, you want to know the truth? You want to know the truth? Can I tell you the truth? Can the real
Yes.
truth of the
Tell me, nobody's listening.
Nobody's listening. Absolutely nobody's listening. I never really practiced yoga before showing up to India.
Really?
And not really. Like I couldn't say I had like a strong practice. Like of course I knew how to do a sun salutation, and because I did a little bit of gymnastic and all, like I knew ish the principle of it ish, but it's not like I had a strong practice, before showing up there. So at the beginning I was supposed to do it was like a Hatha Vinyasa yoga teacher training program. Showed up there. Turns out like and there's 3 students. That's it. And the teacher is looking at me and he says, "So you're an acrobat, right?" And I was like, "Acrobat? Yeah, well, yeah, I can do a handstand. Yeah, I mean, probably to you, I'm an
Acrobat.
acrobat, but not to my personal criteria, but whatever." He said, "Tomorrow, go there and try Ashtanga." So I went, I did like Ashtanga, and I did like finally I did the course in Ashtanga. It was more of a really random thing. It was not a conscious choice.
Oh,
So
but what a random choice, Marc Antoine. Not that I'm surprised that you were like, I'm going to go do this thing that I've never done.
yeah,
I love
um,
it.
but yeah. No, it was great. I would go back every year if I could. I would go back to India. Absolutely, it's such a don't know. It's I don't know. You need to go there to go to those holy places, and you need to get in contact with the real thing. You know the river, the Ganga, the Ganga.
Hmm.
If you climb up the mountain, what is the mountain? Kalash. So there's a mountain that is in the Himalayas, and that's like the highest source of a river on the planet. You know what I mean? Like it's the highest lake on the planet, and it feeds the Ganga. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to it's crazy to say that, no, the highest lake on the planet or whatever it is. So and all the spiritual life in the oldest book, the Bhagavad Gita, was from India. So there's sort of a correlation between the landscape of the place, and there's a feeling to the place, that is some sort of like the true experience. I don't know if I can say the true experience of life, but
But a true experience in the present moment when you were there.
yeah, which you can have anytime. You don't need to go to India for that. We can have it right now. You're having it right now. I'm having it right now.
True. Do
So
you find that it's helped you? I mean, I think that you're a pretty focused individual anyway, like, and that
yeah,
always kind of came across. Do you find that it helps you focus, especially during this year of craziness and uncertainty?
yeah. Did it help me? Did yoga help me? No, I think it's maybe the what I've realized before going to India that helped me with those things. With what you're saying right now, it's more and that's probably one of the biggest um, switch that happened inside me while I was in Vegas. Is I sort of realized what I was, not who I was, but what I was. And now we're getting deep, my love. But if you want to go there, we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
You know. But I've realized that I identify to an idea of myself. I identify to a dream. I identify to the Marc Antoine, the Cirque du Soleil guy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
all my life. And I just took simply in Vegas with the help of my dear neighbor, which was an old lady that taught me how to meditate, and Beverly Cannon. My God, she's my spiritual grandma. And just by like quietly sitting every day,
Remember that.
10, 15 minutes a day, just that, breathing with no mantra, nothing, just sitting and breathing. You sort of realize it's going to create a distance between the awareness of who you are, and who you are really, you know what I mean, or what you are really. And the more you take that perspective on yourself, less of that identity that you thought you were will possess you, let's say, or take control of you. You know what I mean? So your emotion won't be as strong because you're sort of observing them. They're there. Of course, I get mad at my twins, and but I don't identify that much with those emotions because I know they're going away with like all the rest. Like my own identity went away because I realized, like, oh my god, I was just an idea actually that I was making for myself. Maybe that's not exactly what I am. It's there's so much chaos in that. There's so much crisis. There's so much noise there. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather sit down and look at the noise, and then the more you look at the noise, the quieter you get. So maybe it's that sort of a realization that helped me go through this time, this challenging time. I'm not sure, like in my case, sorry, but it's not necessarily a challenging time because it's not like I work for the full time for Cirque du Soleil with bills to pay, and I'm on normal, and I'm not, I just lost my job. I don't even have my unemployment check. Not in that situation. Knock on wood. you know and I work mostly from home, so it's okay. um, but yeah, during those challenging times, it's important to take a step back, and say, because what's happening, like the more I work with you're talking about Cirque du Soleil people there, it's those performers. Take a gymnast, someone that since she or he's like 3 years old, does flips and flips and flips, and then when you're a child, you everybody around you sees you as the gymnastic champion and the girl that knows how to do that, and then you identify to you as a gymnast. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then you grow up, and when you end up at certain, most likely you went pretty much to the highest level in competition that you can be.
Yeah.
You might have made Team USA, or you know what I mean. And then you end up at Cirque, and then you're just switching to another identification process, which is you identify as the Cirque girl and the acrobat and the sun and the Cirque du Soleil and the Cirque du Soleil. And when everything collapses, it's not that you cannot pay your bill that creates the drama and the stress. It's an identity stress, because you're like, hey, this is who I am. My
So
job is who I am. But if you really, really, really think about it, this is not, you're way more than that. I always say to the performers that have anxiety, you should always say you're bigger than the sun. You know what I mean? Cirque du Soleil is just a means so you can express yourself. But there's not only Cirque du Soleil in life. There's so many other platforms. There's so many other ways that you can express yourself and express what you want.
yeah.
So I think the crisis and the anxiety comes from there, and it goes way beyond than just how am I going to pay my bills, you know.
It's also
So
what am I going to do with myself?
exactly, and it's an opportunity to investigate a little bit inside, who you are, what are your core values, what do you stand for, and recently I've done that actually. Because I talk a lot. I work with Barry Griffith.
Hmm.
I'm his digital marketer, and we have
Yeah,
like
I want to talk about that.
yeah, I will talk about it. But I was talking to him about like the importance of having your core values, because we're really into mindset. Both of us, hey, it's crazy. We leave each other some messages. It's like sometimes we're like, 20 minutes of messages. Hey Barry on WhatsApp, because we have 9 hours of time difference. So sometimes we cannot call.
Yeah.
Crazy, but we talk about all those subjects, the mindset and all that, and we're talking about the core value thing, and I sort of I took the time to really reassess that. So what I did is like, and you should do the same actually. You
I
should,
should. It's always good, especially now.
yeah. So you take it's a simple exercise. You take a piece of paper, you write down important values for you, okay. Um, whatever value that are important: love, family, power, wealth, health, blah 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 blah. Okay. um, and then you select, let's say, five, your top five, the most important one, or the most that the core values that resonate the most with you, and then you put them in order. What is the main core value? What is the main important thing for you? And what's the second one? What's the third one? What's it? And I realized, and I've never realized that freedom on a daily basis was my top value ever. Freedom on a daily basis, not freedom to
Like
wait
being
a year
free.
where I can like travel, or a weekend once in a while. Not freedom on a weekly basis. Freedom on a daily basis. I realized that,
Oh,
which I never thought of, because I always wanted to work for Cirque, and at Cirque, you work so much, you train, and you come back, and you don't really have freedom. It, and on tour it's even worse. They do fucking like 12 shows a week, like they work 6 days a week. Sorry, not necessarily 12 shows, but they work like 6 days a week. It's a crazy life. Even if you're traveling all around the world, and you can go to bed late and wake up late because your first training is at noon, let's say, you have no freedom. It's not like no freedom to my criteria. you
right.
know and that was like a huge surprise to say that, wow, that's like my top priority. So, and then there was health. But what does it mean also, health? It means like feeling light, energized, because health in general doesn't mean anything. Family, that was like family was my second one. Health was my third one. Family, what does it mean to support my family, but also to feel supported by my family? And after that, it was growth of others, growth of me, and abundance. To cultivate abundance,
which is also very relative.
which is relative, absolutely. You can be very abundant. So for example, I don't live in luxury. We have a little house on like a big, we have a good lot. It's almost an acre, so it's fair. Half of it is wood. We don't have neighbors on the backyard. I grow vegetables, and it's quite humble. It's not a huge house with, we don't live in luxury. You know what I mean? But it's to us, it is a sort of wealth. We don't have it doesn't cost a lot of money per month to live here, so there's more freedom.
Yeah.
They're all linked. So maybe I wouldn't accept a gig that I don't feel free. Inside that gig. You know what I mean? I would need
Yeah.
which doesn't mean I don't want to work. It sounds like, hey, I don't want to work, I want to be free. It's not that.
No, I
But
think it's just a different perspective that we get, and you
absolutely.
only get, for the most part, I feel like as you gain not only age, but also a certain amount of knowledge and what you do and don't like, and what you have and have
Yeah,
not tolerated or put up with in life or in your work. Or I definitely am in a different place than I was at like 26, you know.
yeah. You're a businesswoman now. You're a businesswoman. You own a business. You run a business. I mean, you work way harder than when you were at CA. That has nothing to do with necessarily the hours of work, but the amount of effort that it's required to maintain a business. You have a physical shop, you have a physical place
Mhm.
to maintain just the physical place. You don't have an employee, right? You're alone.
It's
So
all
okay,
me.
cleaning everything, just that it's a lot of work, just that. And then all the like dealing with providers, and then like all the social media thing and the digital marketing, because your touch point is probably online, I assume that's probably why you do stuff like that, which is great. um so much work, but maybe it's more meaningful for you, because
It
you
allows a different kind of pride, absolutely, of being proud of it, the end product of creating something. And then there's the moments, like I just had a class this last week with one of my colleagues that she's on tour and she wanted to add ventilating and stuff. And it's that moment of when they finally get it. And it's probably very similar with coaching
Mhm.
the performers as well. But that moment when it clicks, and all of a sudden the knots are beautiful or the makeup is blended, and you're like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I can do this. Like, okay, whew,
yeah.
gotta,
And it will stay with them for the rest of their life. That skill that you teach them, it's gonna stick there, and they're gonna teach it to someone else and someone else and so on.
yeah,
I always say that education should be a basic commodity like gold, silver, copper. You know what I mean? Education should be way more valued. You know what I mean?
yeah.
How do you put a price tag on that? It's difficult to put a price tag on education, because you can change someone's life in 2-3 sentences.
Yeah. And
Maybe
especially if you
less.
care. Like, I feel like there's so many places that you can go to, and I definitely went to them for acting that just wanted your money. They didn't really
Yeah,
care.
yeah, yeah,
But finding mentors or coaches or people that actually care about what you're doing as an artist or as a person and your trajectory in this industry, I think is super important. And sounds like I know you, so I know that you're one of those people that goes in and doesn't be like, well, clocking in for the day, guys.
yeah. But that's why I left car. That's what I left car. Because I was in those feeling. I was clocking in. Family wasn't happy in Vegas, really. uh, and I was clocking in. I was just like, getting paid, and that's it. And it was not as much as it was not that meaningful for me. So I left.
It was time. Yeah.
It was time, and it's not. I mean, you know, people that are scared to jump and do those moves, and now, okay, now we need to do because of the pandemic, and we need to, like, we need to reconsider this whole thing. However, um, it's just a house. It's just a house. It's just like, it's just a contract. That's it. It's just that. It's just a contract. You know what I mean? It's just that. It's nothing more than that. It's, but all the attachment you have to it, and that's another story. But at the end, when you're like, I sold my house in Vegas. I moved out with two luggages and a guitar. I sold my house with the furniture.
I wish I could have said that. I wish I could say that.
No, I swear, I put that in my car. I packed my car, two luggages, a guitar, and a box of stuff to give to another artist, of like kitchen stuff that. I sold the house with the furniture. Fuck it.
Because you were moving out of the country, though, right?
Yeah.
No, I probably would have done the same. If I ever move again, I'm moving to Europe, and I'm bringing Aiden and like a suitcase.
Of course. I mean, we gathered too much stuff. I look at we get attached to so much stuff. One thing I'm proud of is, like, if I want to move this house, like, if I want to move, man, if it doesn't fit in one truckload, I don't need it. You know what I mean?
I got to get there, Mark. I got to get to that point. But okay, switching gears a little bit, because now you are going back to Barry, and that you are doing this digital marketing thing, which I didn't know. I thought that Barry was posting all this stuff, and then I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense.
There's so many. There is so many people that hire digital marketers.
I know. What made you want to go into adding this into your repertoire?
So one night, that was last year. One night, I'm having dinner with a friend of mine here. The guy has an antique shop named Latrona Antique Shop. Latrona Antique Shop. We're having dinner. We're friend, and he's the father of, like, our kids play together and all. And he has a huge warehouse full of, like, antique shop, and it's beautiful, like pieces from, like, the 15th century. It's like crazy nice.
I would love that.
Wood shop and all. Yeah, absolutely. And we're having a conversation, and he's saying, like, yeah, I don't know, and now I need to do a website for sure, but I don't know, like, how to do that. I say, oh, you don't have a website? He said, yeah, man. He said, I don't have a website, and there's a guy in Madrid, he wanted to do, but it's so complicated to do that. And I'm like, he said, hey, Mark, do you want a website? Can you make me a website? I was like, yeah. I've done website for Maria or project that I had. Like, I've done websites. Yes, I'm not a super specialist, but I can do it. Like, I can pull it off. He said, if you do that, I give you a chunk of the sales, and if you want to do that, let's go. I was like, okay, good. So then I'd build a website, but then I was like, okay, but now we should, like, go on social media. Like, okay, and I was not big on Instagram. So I was like, okay, how does Instagram work? And then I started to help Maria with her Instagram, and I started to help him with his Instagram. And then last year I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to study. Like, I'm going to buy a course and study digital marketing and study, like, all of the platforms. How do they work? And you know what? I didn't even want to become a digital marketer. I just thought it was like a basic skill to have in 2020.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
It is. And it's not complicated when you take the time to just to study it a little bit. After that, it's very time consuming, because having a good presence online requires a strategy, and it's not like every business owner that have the time to, like, say, okay, what's my strategy? And also they rather hire someone, so that's what Barry did with me. So I'm glad that we trapped you and you thought it was him, but
I did, which made no sense. I was like,
but you need to be careful. Like, of course it's him, you know what I mean? Because I'm not, it's not like it's his project. It's whatever I post, whatever I write, it's something that he would say, or and it barely never happened that I say something that he wouldn't say. You know what I mean?
I just know that he doesn't live on social media like even remotely close to how I would have before. So that's why I was like, he's like really on his game. Like, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He
that's
has,
what I
he has a special, he has an assistant, you know. But that's what I love because it's I really work close with Barry, you know what I mean? So I really understand his mindset and the way he would do that, and I help him also doing a little bit of branding of, you
mean.
know, because when it comes to create an identity online, it's important, I think, to have a feedback, you know, from outside. What are you about? Where's your market? What are you trying to achieve? You know, it's all those questions that you can do it alone, but it's good to have someone to help you
Yeah,
with that, you know. So
absolutely.
so I did that, and you know, and so I helped my wife with her business that is like mostly online actually. I do Barry, I have another client as well, and like, you know, little by little I'm getting someone else, so um I do it. And again, we'll go back to the conversation about freedom. That type of job, if I want to wake up and go run a marathon, which I do quite often, you
Oh
know,
yeah, now that you're a runner.
I run 140 kilometers a week. 140 kilometers a week. What is 140? That's like
Do you see me going,
80 miles, close to 80 miles probably a week.
God,
You know, so that's like my running volume, you know. So I need freedom. I need freedom. So if I want to wake up and go run a marathon, 42 kilometers in the mountain, I can do it because I design a life where I can still pay my bills, but I can, you know,
you
I don't
designed
have a
a
lot of
life
bills.
with a
So
capital L.
yeah, you know. So so that's why I like to do it. And what's cool is I'm not necessarily excellent at one thing, but I'm good at several things. You know, I do video editing, audio editing. I do a little bit a little bit of graphic design, but I'm not a graphic designer. Far from it. However, I do a little bit of that. I do also coaching because I coach Barry. Like if you look at the first video of Barry and the video now, there's a coach behind it. You know, like hey Barry, look at the camera when you talk, breathe, don't think with your mouth open. You know, by the way,
Just those little.
if you have a podcast and you think with your mouth open, then uh, just shut your mouth when you think. You won't say, you know. So I coach him. So I'm good I'm good enough at a lot of things, which is interesting. I mean, again, it's about being an outsider. So that's what I do now. You know, and I teach theater, and
I think that's part of being in theater, though, as well, because especially before you get to somewhere that has amazing budgets, you really do wind up having your hand in a lot of different
oh
pies,
yes,
making things
absolutely.
happen. You know,
Absolutely. And that's why knowing about digital marketing, like basic skills, will save you so much time.
yeah.
So much time because you can waste thousands of hours and it's just something stupid like not using the right hashtags or not putting them where they should be in the post. Just that, you know, just having like doing a basic research. Well, so here's, I don't know, like I'm giving you an advice. So usually your hashtag, you should have about 10% of your hashtag that are like very small hashtag in your niche. Once you found your niche, okay, 10% smaller hashtag, 25% should be like, let's say mid-size hashtag between like, you know, up to let's say 20 grand followers on the hashtag. Another 25% should be like, I don't know, something under half a million. After that, another 10% should be like huge hashtags, you know, like hashtag love, hashtag, but not more than 10%. And you want to do that because um, the goal of being on an hashtag is you're seen your business or your profile is seen on the hashtags.
And if it's in the
And
big ones, it just gets.
but if it's in the big one, it's gonna disappear pretty quick. You know, if it's only in the small one, you will be the only one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how just doing a small research on the hashtag, and using a lot of hashtags. That's to reach the limit. That's in your niche, of course, always in your niche. Just that, and then once you found those hashtags, you make 3 groups. Okay. So the first group, you have your hashtag, and the second one you change the order of the hashtag, and maybe you add others, or always in your needs, you mix and match. You have 3 groups, and then you alternate. you know so, and then you just copy paste, or you do a shortcut on your queue, on your, you say tag one, and it's automatic. It change. How do you say that? The macro or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's the second, pim pam, and then that's really efficient. Your post is gonna show, you know, because it's all about finding the right followers. It's not the amount of followers; it's finding the right ones.
Yeah.
I always take my wife as a good example of. She has a very good conversion rate because she posts, she sells. She might not sell for $1,000. She might just sell. She's a baker, so she might just sell one cake. But usually
It's translating.
she's post. There's a sale coming up. So that's you need to go to that conversion rate because it's useless to have 100,000 followers if they don't convert into sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just doing like a strategic hashtag research and having those 3 groups, because the other thing with Instagram is Instagram doesn't want you to hack the system too much. So if you always copy paste the same hashtag in the same order, it won't be impacting as much. You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Just that, or to find out how often you should post, to look at the hashtag. So for example, you take a look at an hashtag that is really what you're doing, like it is what you're doing. So so the hashtag would be something like wig, makeup, wig, school, education ish hashtag. So, and that should be a fairly small hashtag. It shouldn't be like hashtag love. So you take a look at the hashtag and you post something, and you look at your post and you see the amount of time it takes until your hashtag disappear. That's often you should post. That's how often you should post.
I'll have to go and look at that.
Yeah. So if you take an example, if you're in the fitness world, why those fitness people post all the time, you think? Because their hashtags, like their posts disappear like in 1 second. So they need to post like 10 times a day. But for example, with Barry, we're into like multi-family investing, multi-family real estate investment, those things. Barry, it's 24 hours. 24 hours, the hashtag is like the people need to scroll down to see it. So I could post more, but not less. You need to post once a day.
Out there.
And anyway, Instagram, 48 hours, you're dead. So you need to post every day, no matter what. 48 hours, your post is impactful. There's no impact to your post. It's gone. It's short-term trading. Instagram is short-term trading. It's how you get in touch with your community. It's how you direct message people. It's how you invite people into your world on a daily basis. You know what I mean? It's short-term because it's time sensitive. YouTube, podcast, whatever. This is not time sensitive. It's blue chip, So you might post a video on YouTube, a tutorial, a makeup tutorial, let's say. I don't know are you on YouTube as well? So
we're actually live on YouTube right now.
Great. Bon. So you post this on YouTube. Maybe you're gonna get 10, 20, 100 views. But who knows? Maybe in a year you're gonna become, viral, and you're gonna be way more popular, and then that video will pop up. So that's a blue chip. That's important to, like, in your strategy, to invest in blue chips that are not time sensitive, and invest as well in short-term trading, so that you do Instagram, Pinterest, and you're probably on Pinterest as well, or so
you need to do Pinterest more. I have, for those of you watching, Marc's website, if you have any questions for him about this stuff, because it's terribly interesting, and it's not necessarily complicated, but it's complex and time consuming. And
it is, but it's about, it's like anything. It's so like now I'm building my business in digital marketing, and I decided to call it the stupid simple digital marketing. Stupid simple, because it is stupid simple at the
Yeah.
end. Yeah, of course it sounds complex, but it is very very simple. And ask yourself that thing, Megan. Like, what would be like the three pillars of your presence online? You know what I mean? We will say like makeup wig education.
Mhm.
Maybe what will be? Do you sell something? Do you sell product? You
I
don't
sell
sell?
product, but it's not a pillar. I don't. It maybe hopefully will be in a year or so, but
Or
um,
maybe like now everything is stopped, but I assume you're gonna keep working as a makeup artist, and you're gonna keep working in the field even if you have a school. So
yeah, I still freelance.
showcase maybe showcase you as a makeup artist or wig maker, or you know what I mean. So that would be your three pillars. Okay. Once this is clear, that organize how you're gonna put your content. You know how which type of content you're gonna create. Because what's complicated for the people is they don't know. You don't know what to post. But when you really wonder, what are you about? Just like three things. What are you about? You know, what
Yeah,
are you about? I'm about, and in your case, it would be that. And then after that, it's easier to see which type of content and you can produce. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
becomes, and also defining your values. Also, probably growth is one of your value. Education, growth is one of your value. Maybe entertaining is one of your value. I believe entertaining should be in your value because you're quite an entertaining person. Your
thanks.
core value, but so but look at that. You're having like three pillars, three things to showcase, and three perspective on that. So if you say like let's say wig making, wig creation, there's the perspective of education, that you can
Yep.
showcase. There's also the perspective of look, I'm creating me as an artist, I'm creating that. Look at me, and also there's maybe the entertainment part. Maybe you roomed up one wig one day, maybe you burned down a wig, a funny part, or a funny video or funny something. But then it's clear in your head where you can go in your strategy, and your audience, they they expect something from you, and this is what they expect. They expect loyalty towards those values.
Oh,
And
interesting.
of course, they expect it. So the biggest mistake you can do is not separate your business from your personal account, for example. You know, I don't think you're
Oh yeah,
doing it too much. I didn't study your Instagram account, but the people that are like business stuff, my child, business stuff, my
yeah.
trip to the beach, business stuff. So this is not good because you cannot build and you cannot really, unless it's part of your core value, of course.
Yeah.
But usually,
No, they're very separate.
no,
Mine
because
are anyway.
they have an expectation. They expect you to teach them the world of wig makeup. They expect you to entertain them with this topic. They expect you to do that. So you need to feed them that, you know. And also, if you take a look at the algorithm, Instagram will find it way easier because Instagram will know what you're about.
Oh yeah, true to keep that path,
Because
paths clear.
if one post is about a wig and the other one is about your son and the other post is about your grandma and then the wig again and then you going on a vacation somewhere, Instagram is like, okay, let's say you're just a user, you're not a business. You need to
Yeah.
use your Instagram account as a business, not as a user. So
Maybe I'll wind up hiring you, Marc Antoine, for that.
nah, for you, I would do everything for free for you, my love.
Ah, you're so sweet. I want to ask you before we go. I always want to find out some very random information from people.
Okay. Yes. Find the
Um,
random information.
Random information from Marc Antoine Picard. I want to know what is your favorite ice cream?
Oh, cookie dough, cookie dough, cookie dough, cookie
Cookie
dough.
dough?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cookie dough, maybe. Cookie dough, Cookie dough. Yeah.
Nice
Is
mix
it
of like
boring?
chocolate and
In Europe, it's boring. I know in America it's boring, but in Europe it's fancy. The cookie dough thing.
oh.
Ben and Jerry's, it's a fancy thing. You know.
Okay. Um, if you could, and this might not be a simple question, if you could have dinner with someone, alive or dead, to be one of those people. I know there will be more than one.
But I can only say one.
You could have a dinner party of 3.
I think I would like to eat with Russell Brand.
Oh, that would be really interesting to watch you two.
Uh, if there's and like he's still alive, but we're gonna. I would like to sit with Jesus, Russell Brand, and someone completely crazy out of this world. And
Russell Brand is not that person. Just kidding.
Russell Brand, he just has he has a lot of energy.
He's
Oh
super
my god!
fascinating.
I would Jacques Brel. Jesus, Jacques Brel, ne me quitte pas. Il faut oublier, tout peut s'oublier. Qui s'enfuit déjà. Oublier le
The
temps
singer?
de. Yes, it's a singer. It's a French singer. So
Oh.
Jacques Brel, Russell Brand, and Jesus. That's what I would like to do.
Now, would you like to have dinner with them or sit around a campfire in the woods?
Oh, campfire. Campfire. But campfire eating like hot dogs. Hot dogs on a stick, you know.
Do you have Maria make y'all dessert?
Ah,
That's why you're running so much, right?
that's probably why. That's probably why. That's probably why. There's always like, you know, because when she baked the cakes, she put it in the, well, I don't have it here, but you know, the cake does, you know, so she need to cut the part. It does like a cupcake, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
she needs to remove to put it flat. So we have all the leftovers of that. So we have Ziplocs and Ziplocs and Ziplocs of that. So my girls really enjoy that. I think they enjoy more the leftovers than the cake itself.
I love it.
You know.
And then I have one final question for you. Do you find yourself these days having kind of a motto that you tell yourself a lot? Some kind of saying or keeping yourself grounded or focused or anything like that?
It's gonna pass like all the rest.
Yeah.
It's gonna pass like all the rest. It's not that I don't give a shit. It's just it's gonna pass. But yeah, when I'm mad at my twins, if because that's I'm not a guru yet. But if I have that thought of like, oh, that emotion will pass like all the rest, it's passing. You know, so the pain also. You know, running long distance brings a lot of pain. So you say it's gonna pass, and then you're not that much in pain. You know.
I love it. It's a good one. It's good. You can use that one for everything, really.
What do you say lately, like, for with the pandemic and all? What's your
What do I say a lot to myself? Well, having to really be on my own as a single mom, business owner person in the world. I've used this one for a long time. You teach people how to treat you.
Ooh, I'm gonna write it down.
My
people how to treat you.
Yeah, and I've used it for a long time, but I found that it's really happened a lot, maybe in the last year and a half or so, since I've had to just really do it on my own and setting up those expectations for how the relationship is going to be in a professional sense, kind of from the get-go, because then I won't be taken advantage of as easily, or those types of things. And also, people aren't psychic,
Yeah.
I can't expect people to know that is okay or not okay or whatever. And so if you just teach people how to treat you and what's acceptable and not acceptable, then everybody has a much clearer time.
Love it.
Yeah.
You teach people how to treat you.
Teach people how to treat you. But I use that one a lot. And I remember a couple years ago, not a couple, 2012, I had to listen to The Power of Now
Yeah,
because
by the
I was,
Cartole, yeah.
oh, so great. I was working on a project and this
Second book is
gentleman,
good too.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
But my blood pressure would go up when I saw this guy's name in my email. That's how much he got to me.
yeah.
And you have to really check yourself and all this stuff. So I was like, I need to find some kind of way to cope with this. So I started listening to The Power of Now. And the thing that always stuck with me is like, does this matter? Am I like kind of like it will pass? Like in this very present moment, am I hurt? No. Am I going to die? No. Am I, like in that very present moment, am I okay? And the answer almost always is yes, because you're not standing there with your arm cut off. And
One thing that really touched my heart about Eckhart Tolle, a sort of exercise like that or a thought like that, is pretend that you've choose everything that happened to you. Not choosing not to blame yourself, but like you're walking in the street and it's a choice that that person is walking on the other side of the sidewalk and it's crossing the street with you, and it's a choice that a car come, and it's a choice that someone come on your path and you're having a chat because everything is meant to be. So to a certain extent, sort of like you choose it. If you choose to walk your dog at 7, it's a choice that someone else will be on your path. And it forces you to accept everything because at
yeah,
the end it's your choice type of thing. And Eckhart Tolle really made an impression on me too. Absolutely, like
yeah, he is really brilliant. I like his teachings a lot, and I just like how he makes you stop. Not him, but he gives you the power to stop and not just react.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know, not that I had a tendency to do that before, but now if I react, it's much more articulated and um, maybe more dangerous because now I've actually stopped and thought about what I'm going to say. So it's coming from a place of thought instead of just pure emotion, one way or the
Yeah.
other. Um, it's also helped, I think, to having Aiden, my son, and when I get really frustrated with him and thinking like, how do I want him to react in this moment? And so stopping and not getting as upset, not saying that I don't, but just right off the bat.
It's really difficult to be a parent, and because on one side you have you know all of those things that we just talked about, but then you're in the everyday life with children that test your limit, and yeah, it is very, very difficult, but fun as well.
Oh, it's absolutely
I
the
always
best,
say,
hardest thing I ever did.
yeah, I always say, having children brings out the best and the worst out of you. You know, it
Yeah,
should always bring the best, but yes, unfortunately, we get mad at them and all. So,
we're all learning, right?
yeah, absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
great.
And your children are there to teach you stuff. That's one. Maybe that's another thing about your last question of what are your children teaching you? Because we always see education as a one-way deal, but actually it's like it's both ways, because you're a twin and you're completely different than your brother. I have twins and they're completely different. They have completely different personality, and one teach me stuff that the other one doesn't teach me, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And to see parenting with a little bit of humility, and saying like, what does the child has to teach me about life? And there is so much. There is so much.
So much. He definitely has taught me to slow down. Like,
Oh yeah,
his legs don't go that fast.
yeah, exactly.
But he's like, no, I want to go this extremely roundabout, unnecessary way to get wherever we're going. And so you're like, well, I guess we're going to go that way. And then once you kind of surrender to that, you're just like, well, this is fine. Like, fun. You can play in the
I'm sure
dirt.
you're a wonderful mama.
Aw,
You're a wonderful mama.
thank you. I'm trying. He's the best. So
I'm sure too that he's the best. For sure,
very sassy.
for sure he's the best. You know, and parenting is one of those things. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if it really exists to be a parent, to the parenting thing. I think if you work enough on yourself, you just become like an inspiring presence with your children. You know, you're inspired by your children, and your child is inspired by you. You know, because
Mhm.
parent, like being a parent, it's very abstract. You know what I mean? It's very, very abstract. That concept, like
Yeah.
down to the present moment. That we'll go back to Eckhart Tolle. In the present moment, just saying to yourself, "I'm the parent here. Go brush your teeth now because I'm the parent." No, just hey, you're 7. You don't know that your mouth stink, and you know you might
Sugar.
get cavities. So I'm just informing you because I have a
We
couple
don't
of
know yet.
years under the belt. Okay, that if you don't brush your teeth, you might, just so you know, any child will do like,
Okay.
Okay. And if even the child doesn't want, what's the at the end, what's the big deal? Because at the end he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
Right.
If you're really sincere, you really explain properly, maybe the child will do, bon, you
Or
know,
we can make it fun coming
or
from
you
the
can
theater
make it
land.
fun. But if you sort of decide to play that abstract character of being a parent, you just like, I have the feeling I'm just falling into that authoritarian guy that is just, a dictator and say, well, because I decide that, blah, blah, blah. Instead of taking another approach and saying, hey, it's 8:30, we need to go to school. Oh, you want to be late? Let's be late.
And then all of these things. Yeah.
Okay, but you're going to be late. But
It's very interesting being that person that I like to read a lot about different parenting concepts or constructs, different ways to do things. I was very lucky in that my parents, I grew up, I had a wonderful childhood. And, at certain points when you're younger, you're like, oh my God, they're so strict. But then I find myself being like that and having absolute boundaries and stuff, which is great. Um, but being back here, Aiden can do whatever he wants. Like he has toenail polish on right now because his little girl cousins had it on and he wanted it on. I don't care.
mhm.
Um, those types of things. And I am living in an area that is a bit more geared to traditional masculinity, shall we say? And
Okay,
I'm out not in the country, but I'm
yeah,
definitely not in urban Las Vegas. So
yeah,
uh, it's going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, on my end to let him know that you can do whatever you want.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if you want to wear makeup, it will be blended beautifully.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But he wears rainbow colors and all this stuff mainly because it makes me happy. He doesn't care what he has on.
Yeah,
But so it's interesting raising a little boy. Uh,
it must be, it must be because, and we live in a society where there's a lot of pressure made on boys, like to be a man, and all there's we're not like in the 1950s where men don't cry, but we're still
we're still
into that.
struggling with it.
We're still into, what does it mean to be a man? Woman too. What does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be a man? But unfortunately, yeah, we sort of live in stigmas like that. And I will say, I think I'm happy to have 2 girls and not 2 boys. Maybe I don't know.
It, yeah, it'll be an interesting exercise in raising him just to be a good human, like that has a
Yeah,
full range of emotions, the full appreciation or non appreciation of color and art and music. And he's not playing football, but he can watch it. I mean,
yeah,
you know, but being a parent these days, I think, is How do you make sure they don't have a cell phone till they're 20? I don't know.
You don't give them a cell phone until they're 20, dude. It's for real. It's up to you. Like my girls, they ask for it, but the phone, we don't give them phone. We might give them phones like if we're at the restaurant and we when they're open, when there's no pandemic, you know. If at the restaurant sometime if it's getting too long or it's getting too late, because here like you need to keep in mind that people like they eat dinner at 9 at night. So for at 9 restaurants open, that you cannot eat before 8 here. That's like
That's crazy.
the kitchen is closed at 8. But sometime when it's midnight and you're just at the appetizers and the children are like, bored. Like, okay, take the phone, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's more of an habit because my girls, they watch TV, but I mean, they don't play on the phone every day. We don't give them the phone every day, and they. I don't know. I think we'll see when they will get like older because they're just 8. They already ask it. We want a phone, but we said no because it's gonna shrink your brain. Said,
And you're
okay.
8.
And you're 8, but there is some children that have already a phone in her classroom, a phone with no line, with no internet. But man, the parents are like, I just don't get it. Like, how can you do that to a brain? To a brain? Just how can you do that to your brain first?
Yeah.
We're all guilty. We're all doing it, But come on, give him or give her a chance of developing a normal brain with no addiction to digital stuff, man. Come on.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, but another thing, like maybe we need to cut this interview, but when AI will kick in a little bit more than now, which is pretty advanced, I think that the device itself will not be as important because I think we're gonna get if you look at technology like Alexa, at one point because now you can say Alexa, buy me some Nike shoes that blah, 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 blah. And Alexa will say, okay, bim bam, and Alexa's gonna buy it, mostly. It's not that easy, but we're gonna get there. But in a couple of years from now, Alexa will pick up in the conversation that you want some shoes, and Alexa will know how much you want to spend, and you won't even have to say, "Hey, buy me shoes." Alexa will tell you, "Hey, I've noticed that you need shoes. Do you want me to buy them?" Yeah. Boom. I think the device itself, that thing will be. I really believe that it's going to disappear. We're going to have a watch. We're going to move towards implants. We're going to move towards that. I'm talking like in a couple of years. I'm not in 6 months. The device, because we're always going to easier. The human being is about creating a technology to have bigger results with less effort. So sometimes you're lazy to just like scroll down something. This shit is gonna disappear. That interface is gonna disappear. So I wonder if it will be integrated in such a way that it won't be as addictive. It will be more organic, maybe. Yeah, I wonder.
Nice.
That would be nice, and I'm an optimistic in life, but I believe we're moving towards that thing, that Black Mirror won't be as hypnotizing as I hope, because I wish I could just say like I was looking for a rain jacket because I registered for an ultra race and I needed a rain jacket because mine was not whatever, like I needed a rain jacket. Man, I spent a week, shopping like 15 minutes there, half an hour there, online, and took my car, going on the shop. It was closed, of course, because they don't have an e-boutique, of course. They were like, no, we're old school, and I live in a small town, so normal. But I just want Alexa to say, Mark, do you need it? And I've seen that you like that style. Alexa will know that technology, that AI will know your personal taste or what, where.
Like, let me help you.
yeah, let me help you, and that's it. But if you genuinely want a rain jacket and you want to spend money on a rain jacket, I don't see why technology wouldn't propose it to you.
Maybe
But
someone will watch this and then they will be like, you have a brilliant plan. Let's make that happen.
let's make they're already making it. Don't worry, they're already making it. I'm brilliant. It's not like I'm inventing something. I mean, they're already making it. No worries, you
Oh
know.
my gosh. Well, I'm happy that you came on here and let me pick your brain for a while and I got to see your face.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy that you move forward with your business and all the success that is to come to you and the success you're already having. You deserve it.
Merci beaucoup.
Absolutely. Ben de rien, mon amour.
I'll see you very soon, okay?
See you very soon. Mwah!